7, and this is on flowchart thinking. And so first of all, we're going to define a flowchart again. And so that sheet I gave you had a flowchart defined as a visual way to organize all steps in the proper order. Okay, a flowchart proof is nothing more than a proof by using a flowchart. So today what's going to happen is I'm going to give you what the flowchart looks like, and your task is going to be to fill it in. So let's go ahead and look at an example, and this is in the sheet that I gave you. It's example A at the bottom of that page. So you can go ahead and follow along and fill those in as we go through. Okay? Now, very first, what you're going to notice here is you're going to notice we have a bunch of rectangular boxes. Okay? In the rectangular boxes, we are going to put some things that we know to be true or that we are, using to prove. Below that is where we're going to put our reasons. Okay, now if you notice up here at the top of example A, it has a given statement. In this case, it's got two given statements. Those are usually the very first things you use in a flowchart proof. Okay, it says show. That is usually the last thing, or actually not usually, it is the last thing that you're going to write in the proof. So the show is always going to be that last box. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and start by filling that in, that would be fine. Now, we don't have the reason yet, but that's what we're trying to show. Okay, so now if you remember, I said that the given statements were going to be the very start of our proof. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put MP as a median. And I'm also going to put angle N is congruent to angle Q. Now, the reason that those are true, those are our given statements, so we just write given. So if those are located up where it says given, that's your reason. You just write given. Does that make sense? Okay, you're just going to put given by each of those. So now let's write down what we know. We know that MP is a median. So what does that mean? It's in the middle. So in other words, what does that tell me? That tells me that NP equals PQ. So what do you think goes in the box 3 here? NP equals QP. Okay, reason? Definition of a median. That's why. We know that a median is defined to be that. Okay? Now, this one says that angle N is congruent to angle Q. So based on the fact that they tell me that those two angles are the same, what else can I conclude? Not this 90 yet. I want you to do something. I want you to do something real quick.
Line N and line Q, is it? It's another sauce.
So by me getting rid of that, that showed you something else. And what did that show you? If these two angles are the same. Yeah, I know. So what can we conclude? If those two angles are the same,
line N and line Q are
what?
NM and QM.
There we go. NM and QM are the same. So MN is congruent to MQ. Reason being, that's the converse of the isosceles triangle conjecture. And so now those conjectures that you have all written down in your conjecture list, that's where you're going to go to figure out the reasons here. So now let's look at this. I know that I have a side congruent, an angle congruent, and a side congruent. So, yes, okay, so SAS, so what specifically tells me that SAS will work, or what would be my statement here in number 5? You're right with the reason. Here, in fact, I'll even show you. You're right with the reason. That is SAS. But what does that tell me?
NP,
Okay, N, P, M is congruent to, in this case it was MPN, that's what they used. So MPN, oops, wrong one, MPN. So what is M the same as? M, okay. What is P the same as? P, and what is N the same as? Q. Now this is the thing. Could you have something different? Like could you have triangle PNM is congruent to triangle PQM? Yeah, you can. It doesn't have to be identical to what we have in here. Side, 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 you could, but not in this chart, not in this one, okay? Side angle side actually is the shortest way to go here. Now, how do I know then that angle NMP, which is right here, is congruent to QMP? CPCTC, nice job. All right, let's look at another one. So what will go in box 1, folks? AE is parallel to CD. Why is that? Given. Nice job. What will go in box 2? B is the midpoint of CE. Reason? Given. Okay, so far, we've got some boxes filled in already, and we haven't really had to do that much work. Do I know anything else that I can go ahead and fill in?
Show.
Show. So go ahead and tell me. Where do I put show? Box what? Box 7? There we go. So that's what's nice. Come test time, if you're stumped, at least fill those in because you'll at least get partial credit. So let's start with our first given statement. AE is parallel to CD. And I need to show that this segment here, AB, is congruent to DB. So obviously it's probably going to have something to do with congruent triangles again. So I kind of have to think, okay, what do I know?
Angle A and angle D.
Angle what?
A and D.
Angle A and D are the same, and why is that?
Parallel.
Oops, we'll undo that one real quick. I'm going to put another place. We're going to put it right here. Nope, we're not going to do that one. Let's see what they have here. They actually have E and C are the same. We could do A and D. It doesn't matter. Okay. So you actually could do A and D if you wanted. And in fact, let's do that. Angle A is congruent to angle D. Why is that? Alternate interior angle conjecture. So notice how I abbreviated that, AIA. That way you don't have to write out all those words. Okay, let's look at the next statement. I've got to start with statement 2 to get to 4 because notice how the arrows flow. So this says B is the midpoint of CE. So what does that tell me? B is the midpoint of EC.
So C and B and
CB and EB are the same. What's the reasoning for that? Definition of a midpoint. Okay. Now there are 2 statements that you could make here. Okay, you could go ahead and say that your angle E and C are the same by alternate interior angles again. You could do that. You could also state that these angles are the same. Okay? Why are those the same? Vertical angles. And in fact, that's what they've done here. ABE is congruent to DBC, and that's by my vertical angles. So what we would write there is we would write our vertical angle conjecture. So what can we conclude, folks?
That CBD
Right. Okay, we know that two triangles are congruent. Now this is just a hint. I'm going to give you a hint. Any time you have three things, notice here I have three rectangles, 3, 4, and 5. Anytime you have three, chances are you're going to be proving a triangle congruent to another triangle. So anytime you have three, that's probably what you're going to do. So why are they congruent according to what we've shown? Let's look what we have. Yes, side angle, angle. So side angle, angle. So now as a result, how do we know AB is congruent to DB? CP, CTC, nice job. And if you notice, we actually didn't have to follow the one that they used. We could have used another one. So we're going to look at one more, and then I'm going to let you go on your homework. Your homework's actually going to be the worksheet that I've given you. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at one more here. So if you want to go ahead and fill that in, you should have a spot at the bottom of that page. Otherwise, you can just kind of, this is a short one, so this one won't take us long. So if you just kind of want to, I bet you could probably do this even without going through. Let's look at number 1. AR is congruent to ER. Why is that? Given. Right up here, the given statement. Okay? Why is EC congruent to AC? Given. So notice here I have 3. Do you see I've got 3 rectangles? So what does that mean I'm probably going to try to do? Prove a triangle congruent. So now I have to figure out, okay, is there something else here that I know that I could put in box 3 that will help me prove these 2 triangles congruent? RC is the same as itself. Nice job. Okay, so RC is congruent to RC. Now this is what we put for a reason. Same segment. You just write same segment because that's what it is. Okay. So now I've got 3 rectangles. What is going to come next in box 4? Yeah, side, side, side.
RC, triangle RCA is congruent to RCB.
Nice job. Okay. And then so last but not least, well, step 5B. E to A, Y. CP, CTC. There you go. So today, your task, instead of actually writing the flowcharts, your task is going to be to just fill them in. You've got 3 of them. Here you go on your worksheet. And that's what you need to work on now. Okay? If you work, you probably should be able to get it done before the end of class. So on Monday, we will actually continue this. So if things are still a little foggy, that's okay. On Monday, we're going to look at your book, and we're going to do more of these. Okay, so for Monday, I would like you to get the worksheet done. Those of you that are watching the video, I do have the worksheet on the website, and you can access it there.